But, you know, I really am just like you guys. You know, everybody's trying to touch me and grab my clothes and get me to kiss their baby or whatever it is. And you guys need to understand, it was just a short period of time ago that I sat in a meeting very similar to what you guys are sitting in. No translation? Don't worry, it'll come back. Which is Spanish? Spanish, no problemo. It'll come back, don't worry. But, you know, it was just about, I guess, 17 years ago. I was 19. This was just shortly after my mom had passed away. And I really did not know what I was going to do for a living. I'd only had a 9th grade education in school. And for those of you who don't know the background that well, I worked in a drug rehabilitation center for about 3 years. And when I first went to go work there, I was 16. And I made $50 a month. And for that $50, they gave me room and board, gave me a place to sleep. And many of you met Michael Rosen, who developed our promotional catalog. He was my boss when I was 16 years old. And so he's known me since I was a little kid. And we used to raise money for this place so that other kids would have a chance to go to this facility and get off drugs and learn a new way of life and so on. And so what I did for 3 years was basically walk on the street and go into offices and ask people if they would be interested in helping children who had problems to make a new way of life for themselves. So basically all my life I've been in situations where I've predominantly been trying to help other kids basically like myself, that, you know, that didn't want to have to live the way I was brought up, that didn't want to have to live in the kind of neighborhood that I grew up in. I didn't have a great family life. My mom, I didn't even meet my real father till I was 21 years of age. And I was really into trying to see if not only I could change my life, but if I could help raise enough money for other kids to go to a place to correct themselves. So that's how I started that was my very first job. And by the way, he'll never tell you this, but Chris Pear, who runs our international department and has opened up all the countries, he and I used to work together when I was 16 also. We worked on the street together. I knew Chris Pear when he had hair down to the bottom of his back, right? Some of you know Mike Martin. He was on the fundraising situation with me too. And, you know, we were just young kids trying to make it a better world for people to live in. We weren't making any money at the thing. And then after I left there when I was about 19, I got my very first what I would call a real job. And remember here, I didn't have any schooling background or anything, so there wasn't an opportunity for me really with my background or the people who were guiding me most of my life to ever really tell me as an individual that you could really go out and become somebody great in life. That had never, those circumstances had never happened to me. And I got a job at this clothing store. Actually, it was very interesting. It was only 2 blocks from where I ended up starting Herbalife International. And it was a place called Executive Tailored Clothes. And I was working there as a 19-year-old kid. This was just right after my mom had passed away. And I was working there selling clothes for about $1,200 a month. I worked as hard as I possibly knew how to work. And I got to tell you something, I had a great attitude back then. I had the same kind of personality I do today. You talk to the older guys that knew me when I was a 16-year-old kid. I was a nice kid. You know, I had a nice personality. I wanted good things for myself and everybody else. But as hard as I was working, I couldn't make it better for me in those circumstances. And one of the reasons I'm telling you this is last night I got a telephone call when I came in at 2 o'clock. There was a note there for me. And one of the guys that I worked with in this clothing store gave me a phone call yesterday while we were in the meetings and so on. And I first talked to him about the Herbalife opportunity when we opened up our company. And think about this guy. Here was a guy who knew me when I was selling clothes, and then knew me when we started the Herbalife opportunity. Just shortly after I was in the clothing business there, I had gotten invited to my very first meeting like this. It was not Herbalife. It was a company called Slender Now Products. And when I'd heard about a weight loss product and multi-level marketing, I'd never heard anything like this in my life. And as a matter of fact, the sponsor in that company, a guy by the name of Bud Bell, his assistant was here this weekend watching everything that went on this weekend. And she just couldn't believe what happened. And the first time in my life, someone told me you could become more. But the most important thing for me was I saw a product that I could help people lose weight with and that sort of thing so that they didn't have to suffer the way that my mom did. That company only lasted a very short period of time. It went bankrupt. I got involved in another company that had to do with weight loss. That company shortly went bankrupt. And I said, hey, and this was only when I was about 22 at that particular point. I said, what I'm going to do for the rest of my entire life is help people lose weight. I'd been with a couple of people who had gone down and out of business. And I said, listen, this is all I want to do is help people. And I'd been doing that even when I was a young kid at 16, raising money for people. But my main thrust in life was wanting to help people lose weight. And so you know the story from there. I got a hold of Dick Marconi. The reason I had known Dick Marconi is he was a manufacturer for one of those companies at one time. And I asked Dick, listen, you know, this is what I want to do. Help me put together the product. And he put together the line of the Herbalife products for me, and I got the company started. But going back to why I told you this, the very first meeting I ever had in Herbalife, you guys have all heard about when I came in with a baggie full of powder, and I said, you guys aren't going to believe it. We're going to take this product around the world. One of the guys who sat in that very first meeting was a friend of mine who was back in this clothing store, and he told me, because he had seen me fail in the clothing business, he had seen the first company in weight loss I was in go bankrupt. He saw me in the second company I was in go bankrupt. Both of those companies, I'd gotten him involved in the business. And so consequently, when I started Herbalife, he said, no way in the world is this ever going to work. Hughes is going to be a failure. But I did get him on the product. And he lost 40 pounds in the next 8 months, and he kept bringing me referrals and kept bringing me referrals. And finally, he got himself in the business and got himself up to about $10,000 a month. At that point, he quit the company. This is about, I'd say maybe 12 years ago or something like this. Now, his downline is Dennis Dowdell, who makes about $300,000 a year. First line underneath that is Suzanne and Cody Morrow, who made about $400,000 last year, and Henry and Stanya Smeck, who made over $1 million last year. Now, this guy calls me last night. Now, I haven't been able to talk to him yet. I called him back this morning, and he didn't answer the phone. What is the difference between a guy like him, who knows the story, saw it when it first got started, became successful, dropped out of the company, saw his downline become successful, heard about what's happened here in Orlando? He knew that we were coming, but he certainly didn't know we were going to take over the entire city. Okay, and he's hearing about all this stuff. He's obviously getting phone called by every single person in his life telling him, you got to be out of your mind not doing the Herbalife business. What is the difference between him and the person that makes $1 million in Herbalife per year? Answer, and I want you to write this in your notes. Not much. That's the answer. The fact is Eric Nimmer's got all the talent in the world to become a millionaire in Herbalife. The reality is Eric has got everything in his life that's got the capability of going wherever he wants to go in life. And yet, he's still miserable with his circumstances. He's still miserable at the job he's working at. And he's still at the most opportune time in the company's history. If there was ever a time to get started, it'd be now. Forget about back 15 years ago. I mean, if you were ever getting going in this company, it would be now. And what's the difference between the person who makes it in Herbalife and the person who absolutely stays broke and in their same miserable circumstances that they can't stand, that they complain to their wives about, that they yak and slap their kids around because they hate their jobs and can't stand their miserable set of circumstances and don't even provide enough leadership for their children to get their children to be able to see a new way of life? What's the difference between that person and the person that doesn't make it? The answer is not much. And so what I'm trying to tell you here today is you guys got a couple of decisions when you leave this weekend. The only difference is acting on some of the information that you've heard. All it takes is to go forward. And those are daily decisions that you make. Getting the guts to put on that button every single morning and going out in there and talking to people. Going out there and putting out that flyer one more time. Hey, listen, can you guys make it if these other guys have made it, the people that you've been seeing the last couple of days? Seriously. But you know what the sad thing is? We'll probably be here in 95. And by the way, I've been saying 10 months and 9 months and 17 days. It's 10 months, 17 days. A slight little error there. That's Christmas, okay? You know, what's the difference between now and the next Christmas if this guy doesn't do anything different? His circumstances are going to be exactly the same in life unless he changes them. So, if you guys want things to change for you, you got to do something different. You got to be able to just put out those flyers each and every day. And it's just a little bit at a time that you got to do every single day. Hey, look, I didn't get to where we are here today other than facing the challenges that there are every single day and just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. There's not a meeting that you can come to. You learn lots of new ideas at these meetings. You learn lots of new techniques. You learn lots of new things that you can do. But when you boil it down, there's only a few things that all of us do. We use the products consistently. We keep talking to people. We wear some kind of buttons, whether it's our Herbalife button, whether it's one of our diamond pins, whether it's a World Team pin, or whatever, or it's one of the Herbalife sweaters, or whatever it is. We do something that gets us to talk to people, okay? Something, whatever it is that you do. Put out a flyer, whatever. And we talk to people, okay? But if you take those three things there, we promote the business, obviously. You guys have gotten some great stuff from these people here this weekend, and you'll get even more here tomorrow. But out of every single successful person that you've heard, and the ones that you're going to hear from tomorrow, what do they all have in common? Consistency. That's the one thing that they've got. They heard some new information, and they acted upon it. And that's the one thing that the guy that worked for me in the clothing store didn't have. And here's what's dangerous. Even after he got his checkup to Herbalife to 10 grand a month. Now that's insanity. Guy got his checkup to $10,000 a month. You know what happened to this guy? He got formal brain damage. And in my opinion, what's called the ultimate form of brain damage. He said, hey, listen, if I can make $10,000 a month in Herbalife, I bet I could start another business and I could make $20,000 a month. Somehow he got this brilliant idea that if he could make $10,000 a month here and it was working for him, why not start an entirely different business and go ahead and make another $10,000? Here's where he made a mistake. He wasn't a brilliant businessman. He didn't know how to manage money. He didn't know how to do that business. He wasn't counting on the fact he was going to have a lot of lawyers to get him in business, that he was going to have to manage employees, that he was going to have to do all the stuff it normally takes to run a company. And he had forgotten that the fact that one of the reasons he was making $10,000 a month is he didn't have to manage employees, he didn't have to have lawyers, he didn't have to manage his inventory, he didn't have to do all the things it normally takes in business. All he had to keep doing was using the products, wearing a button, and talking to people. And doing that, he was making 10 grand. It never dawned on him. This is what's just mind-boggling to me. It never dawned on him that if he was making $10,000 a month using, wearing, and talking, that if he kept doing it, he could maybe make $20,000 a month. He thought he had to start another business to do it. And guess what ended up happening? He went bankrupt with that company. And over the next 3 years, his royalty override checks, not working, paid off his bankruptcy. And today he just places his $2,000 orders to get his $8,000 check every single month for the last 11 years. And you know what still has not dawned on him? That the way to get to $20,000 a month is not going out and selling boats like he's doing today in the worst time in the history of selling boats. It still hasn't dawned on him that if he just used the products, wore the button, and talked to people, that he could make 20 grand a month. Unbelievable. So what I'm trying to say to you, how many of you like to do better in life when you leave here? How many of you would like to live the good life and have really outrageous incomes? And whatever that means to you. For some of you, that means $5,000 a month. For some of you, that means $8,000. I'll tell you what an outrageous life means to most of you. If you could just double the amount of money that you're making right this moment, that would be fairly outrageous, wouldn't it? Right? How do you make double what you're making right now? By being consistent, by not getting sidetracked, by not letting people to get you off target, not listening to the negativity of any of your relatives, your distributors, or whatever. Don't let people get you off track. There's going to be a lot of people that try to get you off track when you leave this weekend. You're going to have people that make fun of you, and you're going to have it. Anybody ever made fun of any of you in this room here? What, are you out of your mind to wear that button? What are you guys, some kind of guru, what are you, some kind of button people? Hey? Right? And people say, what are you getting joined in some kind of cult? You walk in with your button on to one of your relatives. They go, what, did you join the Moonies? What's the deal over here? Okay? Yeah. Okay. I remember Alan Lorenz, he told us one of these deals. I love the story where his brother, who was very wealthy, said, listen, if you wear that button to lunch with me, Alan, you might as well dine alone. And he said, I think I shall. I can guarantee you one thing, when Alan Lorenz brings that $700,000 check home, his brother will call him up on the phone and say, Alan, would you like to go to lunch? So, hey, listen, there's going to be some things that get you off track. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be some people that make some fun of you, but let me tell you what's worth it. All the people that make fun of you, even the people that you get on the products, it's when they call you back and say, hey, listen, I thought you were totally out of your mind when you had that button on and you stopped me in the shopping center and all this kind of stuff. I thought you were some kind of nut. But let me tell you something, man. I got into those products, and it's only been 3 days, and I feel completely different. And then when they start losing 10 or 15 pounds, and all of a sudden their husband stops laughing at them and says, honey, I thought that stuff was pretty crazy you were drinking the other day and taking those tablets, but you're looking pretty good, baby. You know what I'm saying? And pretty soon it's 25 pounds and 50 pounds, and pretty soon the husband's using the product, and pretty soon the children are getting excited about how mommy's looking, because you know how the children are every time mommy goes on a diet. No, mommy, no, don't go on another diet again. Every single time you start losing weight, you get mean, cranky, and kick the little dog Muffy, right? And the family's losing weight, and pretty soon they're buying new clothes, and they're looking beautiful, and their attitudes are strong, and pretty soon the next door neighbors are trying the product, and pretty soon everybody on the block is doing it, and pretty soon everybody's wearing their buttons, and pretty soon you see the nice, beautiful family with the little stylish chubettes up on stage getting their president's team pin 10 months and 17 days from now. That's what it's about, okay? That's what it's truly about. We had a guy here over this weekend that was very interesting for me. And I've slowly kept recruiting people over the years that have just totally thought we were nuts, and you get them after a while. You tell them, hey, it's great, it's incredible, it's unbelievable. There's people I've told that to 900 times, and they still didn't get it. We finally got this guy. Anybody ever heard of Farrah Fawcett? Linda Evans, right? The Bionic Woman lady, all those people, right? There was one person that was behind all those people, this guy, Jay Bernstein. He was the one that made them. He was the one that promoted them. He was the one that got the hairstyles. He was the one that did everything, right? And for all these years, he's always heard about Herbalife. He's always heard that we're incredible. He's always heard that we're fantastic. And this is the first time he's ever been to Extravaganza. After 11 years, we've known this guy, right? And he just could not believe it. He was just absolutely 100% blown away. And it's always that way for everybody. Everybody who thinks it's crazy, everybody who thinks that it's just a joke, there's a couple of things that really get them excited. The first one is always what? Getting them on the products, okay? Now, we could never get this guy onto the products. I guarantee you after the last couple of days, he's definitely on the products, okay, from seeing all the people that are out here. Now, I don't have any idea if he's ever going to do the business or not, okay, but there's a high likelihood that he's going to, okay, after seeing what he's been down here. And it's just, you keep telling the story, you keep getting people on the product, and you do the best you can. I don't have all the magical answers, gang. I don't, okay? I do know this. The first thing you got to do is you got to work on your attitude. People make fun of you, who cares, okay? Somebody says it's not the right thing, hey, you got to know it's the right thing in your heart. And you can only know that by using the products and getting people on the products and having them make comments back to you on how incredible this is. The only way you're going to know that is by being active and starting to make some money yourself and get someone else who starts making some money, and they come to you and say, you know something, I hated my job at IBM and this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you so much. You got to know that in your heart, gang. And you got to convince yourself. You got to work on yourself every single day. And if you'll get up every morning and you'll work on your own self, because that's your biggest job in Herbalife, okay? You can conquer anything in your life if you want to, if you just keep working on yourself. There's going to be things that happen to you all day long that try to get you sidetracked. There's going to be people that tell you no, and you're going to get sidetracked. But you got one or two choices when you get sidetracked. You can either say, oh, poor, miserable me. Why does it always have to happen to me? And you can keep whining, and you can keep complaining, and you can keep being miserable, or you can say, I'm going to make the best out of it I possibly can, and go back and talk with more enthusiasm to the next person, just like you did. You know how enthusiastic you are when you make 10 sales? It's easy to be excited then, right? Here's when you got real leadership, is when 10 people have said no, and you don't feel good, and 5 of your people have dropped out on you, okay? And someone's making fun of you, and things aren't going right, and 2 straight weeks, you've worked till midnight every single night, and the whole thing's falling apart on you. When you can pitch and get your attitude, and I gotta say this one, and you faking it till you make it. By acting maybe mentally that it's gonna happen. By acting like your best presentation is gonna happen, like you just made 10 sales. That's when you got some true leadership, okay? There's been some real serious times in Herbalife for me when I felt like saying, hey, that's the end of the deal, okay? Why would it be worth it for me to keep doing this, okay? There's been plenty of times for me like that in Herbalife, okay? When I had my very first meeting and I had the baggie full of powder and I was telling my best friends, and let me tell you something, these guys definitely hurt my feelings. They had been in 2 companies with me that had gone under. They knew I was serious about weight loss. They knew that's all I wanted to do because of what happened to my mom. And when I came to them, I was legitimately asking for their help. I said, listen, you guys, no kidding, man. These other companies went out on us, but we're gonna do this thing, and it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be the most incredible thing that ever happened to us, okay? And those guys were all flakes, and they said, hey, look it, you know, this is a joke. Nothing's gonna happen. You don't think that those guys didn't hurt my feelings? And I didn't think to myself, my goodness, who am I going to go to now after everybody I was counting on to get me started just said that this is a miserable joke. You don't think the next morning I had to wake up and say, my goodness, now what am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I started passing out flyers, and I started calling people up out of the telephone book. I started going into the newspapers, and nobody told me this stuff. I just was desperate. I said, I'm going to make it no matter what. And I got the telephone book out, and I started calling people out of the telephone book, and I made up little excuses to talk to them, okay? And then I would call people right out of the newspapers that needed jobs, and I'd say, listen, you know, I'd call Joe in there. He says he was a gardener. I said, Joe, I understand you're looking for a gardening job. He said, yes, I am. I said, listen, Joe, I don't need anybody to mow my lawn. Would you like to make an extra $2,000 a month over and above your present income? Would you be interested in taking a look at it? He said, yeah, I would. I said, listen, there's a meeting tonight. Come on down. I set up a little stand on the corner on Robertson Boulevard. Cost me about 10 bucks, this little stand. And I was actually selling little Dixie cup milkshakes out on the street corner for 50 cents at a time just to get people to try my product back then. Okay? Here's what you do when it's disappointing. Here's what you do when it doesn't look like it's going to work. Here's what you do. You do what it takes. That's what you do. See, I didn't start with a $50 distributor kit with the attitude, I wonder if this is going to work. I hope it's going to happen. No way. My entire life was dependent on whether it was going to work for me in Herbalife. And regardless of what my relatives said, or what my friends said, or what the circumstances were, by golly, I was going to make it, period. And when you got that kind of attitude, there's nobody that can get you down. There's nothing that can get in your way. And let me tell you what people want that are around you. They want leadership. They want someone who knows that they're going to make it. They want someone who says, by golly, I'm going to make it no matter what. Do you want in or do you want out? And I'll tell you what, pretty soon there was 3 or 4 people following me. And pretty soon there was 6 and 7 people following me. And pretty soon there was 20 people following me. And my goodness, after this last couple of days, look at what's happening. And let me tell you something. Couple, 2 or 3 years from now, we're not going to be able to have enough stadiums in the United States to hold people to make this thing go. I hope one of these days when we have our extravaganzas, we have to hook it up on satellite. Every single convention center, not country by country, state by state. Region by region, okay? All over the place this is going to happen. And you know, everybody always says, well, geez, nothing like that could really happen. Some of you were back around in the old days, right? Came to this thing and said, my goodness, what an unbelievable thing that's happening to us here. And all you got to do is keep doing it. Your success, where you go in life, is only limited to your own imagination and your own hard work. No wonder I'm stuck where I'm at right now in life, because I only got this big of imagination. Hey, but in the future, it's going to even be bigger. And in the future from that, it's going to keep getting bigger. And you know what? This is not a joke, gang. And some of the reasons why I'm telling you this is don't let yourself be in the same circumstances that happened to some of those people that sat in those first meetings with me, who missed it then, and they're missing it now, and they're going to miss it a year from now if they don't take some action. Take the things that you've been learning from this week and take it and put it into action. Don't think about everything. Don't worry if everything's perfect. You don't need everything perfect. Let me tell you how you get perfect. Do it 1,000 times. Do it 10,000 times. No, but I didn't know if everything was going to work in Herbalife. I knew one thing: if I put it out 1,000 times, I'd find out. Everything's not going to be perfect to you, gang. You're not going to get from where you are right now at World Team to Millionaire Team without making, I want you to write this down, a lot of mistakes. And you're not going to get to a Millionaire Team without a lot of problems. Listen, it's an impossibility to get the millionaire team without having lots of problems. And trust me, you'll have more problems getting the millionaire team than you did getting to the world team. And you're going to have more problems than that from where you are from the millionaire team to the president's team. And you're going to have even more problems than that when you get to the chairman's club. And if you're lucky enough in life to end up finally being like me, you'll be in a fortunate circumstance to have a real bummer like last night. Because that's the way it is. We were teaching them this the other day in the chairman's class. I said, let me tell you something. You know, they said, well, hey, you know, can we make the supervisor schools better? Of course we can. Can we get everybody to pitch perfect? Of course we'll try that. Can we get all the systems to be completely perfect? Well, of course we'll try that. Can we make certain that 8,000 people don't try to tear the doors down to get their Orlando dollars yesterday morning? Of course we'll try to accommodate that. Let me tell you something, we're going to have some problems between now and the time we get to 1.5 billion. And we're going to have even more problems than that going to 3 billion. That's just the way it is. And write this down in your notes. The bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. You guys should see how many problems I got. You also ought to see my paycheck. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was the first distributor and everybody else is underneath me. It's all how you think about stuff. We started the first night and some of the people that were trying to run this place were saying, there's too many people, there's too many people, there's too many people. I said, what do you mean there's too many people? There's not enough people. My goodness, what's wrong with everybody? You know, everything that you do is just how you face it. You got to deal with the circumstances and make the best of it and go on. And one of the best lines I ever heard when I was a young man was from Dick Marconi. You know, because Dick was like, kind of like Dick was like my father, let's face it, when I got going. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a father. You know, I never even met the guy till I was 21, and then we never even, you know, shook hands really too much until I was 28. And then after that, we never even got together. Finally, one day, I said, listen, you want to go to my house with me in Maui? Could you imagine saying that? Hey? I said, you want to go to my home in Hawaii, and let's spend a week together, and I'll see if we like each other. And if we like each other, great. If we don't, we'll shake hands, and that'll be the end of the program. Okay? But when I got started, I didn't have anybody that was guiding me. And Dick was kind of like my father image, you know. He had already made a lot of money. He had already been successful. He saw this young punk off the street who really wanted to try to make it. And we had some real devastating things that happened to me and the company in 1985 that weren't real pleasant to live through. And I'll never forget Dick Marconi taking me in a room, and he said, you know, Mark, I want to tell you something. He says, if the experience doesn't kill you, you'll be a better man for it. And I got to tell you something. In 1985, I learned more about my life and more about living and more about what I was doing in business through the hardest times in my life, not through the best times in my life. Because when things are difficult and when things are not good, your true character in life, how much of a man or a woman you're going to be, is that's when it really shows. That's when it shines. That's when you can teach yourself the most. That's when you can teach your children the most. Okay? That's when you can teach your downline the most. That's when you can provide it for your family. Listen, all of our families need someone that they can look up to. And let me tell you, not just our families. It starts family by family, town by town. But let me tell you what we're doing in Herbalife. We're teaching the world how they ought to be able to live. Everybody needs some guidance in this world today. My goodness, if you look at the circumstances in the world today, with the fighting that's going on, with the people that don't love each other, with the people that can't get along with things, where else can we have a room in the world today where there's so many different languages and so many different personalities and so many different religious situations where everybody can come together at one single time with one common bond to help people with better nutrition and to help people better their lives? We got to be the most outstanding leadership that's running this world. Really, this is what it's about. You know, wouldn't it be something, you know, back in the late 70s, a new person came on the scene, Sylvester Stallone, and it was Rocky that became America's hero. And then we had Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. Hey, he was a hero. And of course, way back when, Superman was the hero. Wouldn't it be incredible in the decade 2000 that the papers wrote, we needed a new hero, and Herbalife was the company that shined. Seriously, wouldn't it be something? Because that's what Herbalife's about, is becoming a hero. Starting at 5 pounds and getting up to your 100-pound goal. God, when I saw that lady up on stage the other night getting her 100-pound pin for the very first time, can you imagine how that woman's life has got to have changed, losing 300 and whatever pounds it is? You know what it'd be like to lose 300 pounds? Just think about how heavy you are, double it, and think of losing it. I mean, that's amazing. Just the amount of comfortability she must feel in her legs and her feet not aching all day has got to be tremendous. Probably being able to just walk around halfway decent has got to be the most unbelievable thing. Okay? That's being a hero, the weight loss heroes of Herbalife. Starting from where you guys are and getting to 5,000 or 10,000. That's the American dream. And we're trying to take that around the world, gang, and that's something that is awesome. We cannot lose the free enterprise system in the world, okay? That cannot be lost, because let me tell you something, our future generation, our children, are going to need something to look up to. And that their children are going to need something to look up to. I can't tell you how excited I was seeing this children convention here, where these kids are starting to think about Herbalife, and their parents are starting to become outstanding citizens in the community. What an incredible thing to know that our children are growing up like that, with free enterprise in mind, rather than just being a slave with a boss that's going to put them down, not give them their raises, make them feed them coffee all day long. What an incredible thing we're doing for our children. There's so many reasons to do this thing called Herbalife. Of course, there's reasons to do it for your weight loss and your health. There's reasons to do it for your own successes. But there's so many reasons to do it for someone else too. To be able to help someone lose that weight. Listen, where are they going to go to really do that? Where is the hope today for them to use something that's going to be able to make them feel good? Hey, listen, just the weight loss business in America is $36 billion. Where are they going to go for something that's really, truly going to help them out? There's so many reasons to do this, to just help someone lose weight. There's so many reasons to do this to where maybe 3 or 4 years from now, yeah, you're on the cruise, yeah, you're on the vacations and stuff, but what about on this vacation that's coming up in summer, where you have one of your brand new Get Team people come to you and say, you know something, I never ever had more than my boss give me a turkey at Christmas, much less being in a company for 6 or 7 months and I got an all-paid free vacation. I just can't tell you how miserable I've been. You know, everybody in the world doesn't just get sick because of their weight problems. Everybody doesn't just get sick because of their nutritional habits. A lot of people get sick just because they feel miserable about themselves. You know what I'm saying? Their lack of energy, their lack of lust for life itself. Hey, while we're here, for all the years that you're going to live, to just not have the lust and the passion for life, what a miserable way to live for 60 or 70 years. We're going to get someone onto this product and we're going to extend their life, and then the majority of it, they're going to be miserable. Think of how much opportunity there is for you guys to just provide hope for other people. Much less how much money you guys are going to make yourself. Much less how much opportunity we're going to be able to show. And I talk about this children thing a lot, but I'm serious. Every time when I saw those little kids, 8, 9, 10 years old, and they're, you know, yelling up, Mark Hughes, I got to thinking to myself, oh, a lot of you guys haven't heard this yet. So I'm thinking everybody was in the class with me yesterday. For those of you in the World Team, I opened up the little, I don't know how old they were, but they're this big. That's how old they were. And I opened up this door, because I was going to one of these, another meeting, and I just wanted to see how the children were doing. And I opened up this door, and I've never had anything like this in my life happen to me, and it just totally affected me so much, because I really wanted all the kids from the families to be able to be here. It's always been in my heart, but now that I got my own kid, being away from him sometimes just breaks my heart. But open up this door, all these little kids went, "Oh my God, Mark Hughes, ah!" Right? And all these, you could tell, those little Israeli kids, they were from South America, they were from Asia, they were from Australia. To just be able to, for them now at this age, to be around different cultures and know that they're starting to play with them and have fun with them and to be able to get along with them. Think how much more positive that is for them now than looking at the news that they see where all of those kids are fighting each other, okay? What really broke me up was this. I know when I come into these rooms, you guys know me, but I wasn't expecting it when I saw these little children. And I got to thinking, hey, when I walk in home, my kid doesn't hit me at the door, "Mark Hughes, ah!" Right? He doesn't do that. The only reason these little kids must have done that is their parents must have talked about me and the company, and obviously something was positive in their life. Okay? And what that meant to me was those kids must be living better and more positive and having a greater time in life right now than maybe they were before their parents joined Herbalife. And that was what was awesome to me. And what's awesome about it is this. You know what most of those parents were doing before they joined Herbalife? They were working as hard as they knew how to work. They were doing it the best they could possibly do it. They were doing everything that they knew what to do, everything that their boss told them to do, but the system's wrong. The system that they're literally in, they're not going to be able to get ahead because those systems and those companies are not set up for free enterprise and for them to get ahead. And here they're able to apply the same talent with the same skills and be with a product that truly will rearrange their attitude and a system that will allow them to go as far as they want to do based on their own hard work and their own efforts every single day. That's what's incredible. The Herbalife opportunity and system has got to be one of the most outrageous things that has ever happened to the world. And the beauty of it, it's just getting started. How are you guys all going to make it on these vacations? It's going to be real simple. Here's the first thing you're going to do. Get someone their distributor kit. I'm going to run you back through a couple of things that we did yesterday just to refresh your memory. And each one of these things may sound small, but they're big things. First thing you do is get their distributor kit. If you're present with them, there's two things that you want to do immediately. The first one always is get them to use the product. Getting them to use the product is the most important thing that you can get anybody to do. Because A, they get their own testimonial, which gives them the courage and the confidence to go talk to other people about the product. So first is getting them on the product. Here's the second thing you want to do, is recognize them for being part of the company. Get them to take that new Herbalife pin. That's their little success badge, basically. It's no different than you guys getting your World Team pin. And you say, listen, put this pin on your chest right now. Welcome to Herbalife. Don't miss that part of the distributor kit. Because listen, if a guy just is walking around and he doesn't even put on this button yet, he's now got his Herbalife pin on and 4 of his 5 friends ask. Don't miss that portion of the program. Remember that getting someone to the vacation is this. Write this in your notes. Little, tiny steps of success. And that's what you're trying to do. Get them their weight loss successes, get them their little successes and goals in Herbalife. It's step by step, gang. It's not leapfrog from here to the president's team. It's little, tiny successes. Here's the next thing that you're going to want to do. Get them to get some customers immediately. Get them to get some customers immediately. Now, the easiest way to do that is what? Get them to think about qualifying for high five. I want you guys to start memorizing this stuff, so when I ask it to you, that should have been the first thing that spun out of your lips. Why is it the easiest thing to get them to think about? Because you can give them a goal. What's their goal if they qualify for high five? They got to sell $1,000 worth of product in 10 days. And the only time they can ever get that high five booklet is if they do it in the first 10 days. If you guys talk about the high five book and make it just as important, because remember, people only know what's important based on what you say. If you make the high five book important, it'll be as important as the vacation if you talk enough about it. If you don't talk about it, who will do it? Not many. So if I had a high five book, I'd carry it around, okay? Here's the reason why you want them to get others on the products immediately. This is very key. Remember, I'm taking you through a process. People have asked me, how do you get people psyched up to get to the president's team? This is how I do it. There's a reason behind every one of these things I do. Here's why I like them to get other people on the products. Because when they get other people on the products, sometimes their experiences on the products are much more powerful than the original person who got on them. That's a very important thing to have somebody happen to them in Herbalife. Because there's never been an experience in your Herbalife career that's as powerful as when somebody other than yourself tells you, listen, Mary, I don't know if you know how good this stuff is. I lost 25 pounds, and I'm telling you, my blood pressure's gone down 15 points. This stuff is the best thing that ever happened to me. And when that starts happening to the person that you've signed up, then the person starts saying, there's a lot more to Herbalife than just making money. Now that's critical. Because everybody can do this for the money. Everybody can just do it for the cash. But I'll tell you what I want when I've got someone going in the business. I want the man into Herbalife. I want Herbalife into the man, not just making money, because I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of things that hit you guys on making money in the next 15 days, in the next year, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years. What's kept me on track? Do you think that other people have pitched me on money opportunities over this last year? You think so? By the thousands. You don't think that with the money I've got, everybody's not pitching me for everything under the sun to try to get me to put my money into? Of course they are, but I'll tell you what keeps me on track. Knowing that all these other people could have the possibility of having these products if I just work another day, if I just tell the story one more time, if I just get out there and be enthusiastic about it. I don't got time for anything else because of the opportunities that exist to talk to them about the product. So here's what I want. I want people to get others quickly so that they get the idea this is a lot more than just making money. Now here's another thing I would utilize. And don't forget about this one. It's important. When your people start losing that weight, get those weight loss pins that you can buy from the promotional catalog. Don't forget about those. When people have lost their 5 pounds, get them that 5-pound pin and get it on their chest. I forget how much they are. They're like, how much are they in that catalog? $2 or something like that. For $2, for your customer to get recognized, for them to be able to say, do you think, how many of you know somebody, how many of you have been on another diet before? How many of you ever had the person that sold you that diet after you lost 5, 10, 25 pounds personally come over to your home and say, congratulations, Mary, for losing your 25 pounds. This is the best thing that's ever happened to you. How many of you ever had that experience? Not a person in this room, okay? So, you're trying to impact people. Listen, will the person that's losing that weight say, oh my goodness, this Herbalife thing is unbelievable. That's what you want it to be, unbelievable. So don't forget those little weight loss pins, okay? Step that you want. Don't forget about this. You want to start recruiting first line. If there was ever a time in Herbalife's history to start massively recruiting first line, it would be this year. You guys have never had so many things for your people to go for. Supervisor school next month, World Team Day, the getaway deals in May, the vacations this summer and stuff like that. If there was ever a time to get people in the business, it would be this month. It would be next month, especially after what I tell you the last 5 minutes on Saturday. Seriously. So here's what you want to do. You want to sponsor people first line massively. After you sponsor first line massively, everybody asks me, well, who is it that you pay attention to? Here's what I do. I tell everybody about all the tools. I tell everybody about the plan. I tell everybody that they can get as much of it that they want to. I give everybody my telephone number. And if there's anything I can do to help you, please let me be of assistance. And here's who I work with. The people who are calling me night and day. If I got someone who's not paying attention, will I try to get them to pay attention? Sure. But I don't have time to pay attention to people who just aren't paying attention. The ones who say, hey, listen, Mark, teach me what to do. Tell me what to do. I want to do it. Just show me what to do. That's who I'm going to work with. The minute they show me interest, here's what I do. I work downline with them as quickly as possible. First thing you do, recruit first line. How do you get all those people? You've already been explained that. Get them first line. Anybody who pays attention, go downline as quickly as possible. Now your next goal with those people is to start putting in front of them the supervisor schools. Anybody that you've got that's a supervisor, you want to talk to them about being at the World Team meeting. And the big thing you want to talk to them about is what? The vacations that are going to be free in August. Because here's all I know for everybody sitting in this room. If you sponsor a lot of people first line, how many of you have got 10 first lines that you've sponsored before? How many of you, keep your hands up, out of the 10 people that you sponsored, got one supervisor? Okay, I want you to write this in your notes. That's exactly how you get people to qualify on the vacation this coming summer. Why? Because all you're going to have to do is, now I want you to go to the next stage. Concentrate on getting first-line supervisors. Don't worry if all this doesn't make sense. Trust me, this works. Main thing to do is right now, do it. Next year, when you're up here getting checks, I'll explain it to you again. Okay? Start breaking first-line supervisors. Don't think about all the different things that are going on. What are you doing wrong? You know, am I doing it right? Forget about all that stuff. You don't have time to think about that this year. Just start getting first-line supervisors. And trust me, when you get first-line supervisors, talk to them about being a World Team member and get to the World Team weekends. Somebody in your first-line supervisors is going to say, I can't believe it. I got to get to see Alan Lorenz and see this deal on how it's working. I can't believe it. I got to see Gary DeBravender. I'm unbelievable. I've got to go to the World Team weekends. Some of them are going to get there. Keep breaking first-line supervisors. Here's what you do again with those first-line supervisors. Keep talking to them about getting to be a what? A Get Team member. Keep showing them where they can go to become a Millionaire Team member. If you got some guy who's going, oh my goodness, I got to get to Puerto Rico on my vacation. If you got someone who's saying, oh my goodness, I can't wait to get to Algarve in Europe and Club Med and stuff like that. I just can't stand it anymore. I want to go to the Gold Coast. What would I be showing that guy every day? Have you ever seen Bermuda? It's unbelievable. I know you want to go to the Gold Coast, but Bermuda is where it's at, Jack. Okay? I'd be talking to him about Bermuda every single day. For my person that's all they could think about is Bermuda, 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 Bermuda. There's only one thing I'd be talking about. Have you ever seen the Great Barrier Reef? Have you ever seen Hayman Island before? And I'd be showing them that videotape and stuff like that. Here's all you guys got to do. Keep getting first-line supervisors. And trust me, at next year's extravaganza, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. For those of you who are on World Team, I'd break 5 supervisors every single month. 5 supervisors every single month. You say, it's an impossibility for me to break 5 supervisors a month. Nothing's impossible. You can certainly tell me I don't want to work hard enough to break 5 supervisors. You can certainly tell me I don't want to do it, okay? But breaking 5 supervisors a month is duck soup. I'm serious, okay? All you got to do to break 5 is what? Get so many first-line distributors, so many are going to break supervisors. When you get supervisors, all you got to do is talk to them about World Team Day and getting to Puerto Rico or to the Gold Coast or getting to Algarve for free. That's all you got to do. And the only ones that go for that, all you got to do is talk to them about Bermuda. And the ones that go for that, all you got to do is talk to them about the vacations in Hayman Islands, okay? And that's all you should be doing between right this moment and the summer. At summertime, trust me, we will tell you what to do for the next 6 months, and there won't be any questions about the program here by the time you guys get into next year's extravaganza and you're up on stage getting, yes, every single one of you, your President's Team pin. For those of you that are with us still, that are in the Chairman's Club class and so on, listen, I'm going to spell it out to you one more time. World Team, 5 supervisors a month. First line. When I say first line, though, a lot of people get mixed up on this. They say, I've had some of my top President's Team members, you know, they come to me and they go, oh, Mark, I'm doing incredible this month. I've got 47 supervisors. I said, yeah, but how many of them first line? Oh, at least 15 of them. No, I said, how many first line? Well, at least 4 of them. No, I said, first line, how many of them? Well, that'd be none. That's the point. First line supervisors. That doesn't mean someone that you get that gets 4 and you get to count 4. Is that first line? No. Okay. See, first line people means that you have to do one unfortunate thing called work. Okay? So, first line supervisors. So, World Team members, 5 first line a month. Get team members, at least 3 per month. Millionaire team members, at least 2 first lines a month. President's Team members, you got to be out of your mind not getting at least 1 or 2 per month. 5's even better. You get 5 every single month. I can tell you this much right now. For those of you that are President's Team members, you get 5 every single month with 60 next year. And I will tell you one thing. You will see the person that goes to the top of the company. Why? Because all your Get World Team members, they got plenty of things to go to called President's Team. They got plenty of reasons to get there. They got their summer vacations. They got getting part of the bonus. And if you were to get 60 new first-line supervisors, what would take place? I can tell you right now what would take place. Probably 20 World Team members, probably 10 Get Team members, probably 2 or 3 on the Millionaire Team, and a few President's Team members, okay? And you'll see the top people standing on the stage that did exactly that. Don't think about it. Don't have to ask a lot of questions about it. Trust me. First-line supervisors, and you'll learn what the program is next year, okay? That's the plan. That's the plan. Now, all this stuff sounds simple, right? It all sounds easy to do, but it just takes hard work, doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then when you get sick and tired of doing it, you just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. And then when you get sick and tired of that, you just keep doing it over and over and over again. Write this one down. This has been a difficult one to get a handle on. But everything in life is No problem. And everything will be no problem if you just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. And you know, one thing I would really beg you guys to pay attention to, don't get sidetracked by all the people in Herbalife. There's a lot of people that you may have seen here this weekend, or you may be sitting next to someone who's done a lot better than you are, and you're saying to yourself, oh geez, why me? Why am I doing as good as this person? You know, what am I doing wrong? This and that and the other thing. Hey, don't worry about that. Here's what you got to worry about: doing your best every single day, and do a little bit better than that the next day. As long as you know in your heart, and as long as you can look yourself square in the mirror and you can say, I did my best. And if you can say that, don't worry about everybody else around you. Don't worry that everybody else is doing a little bit better than you. Who cares? If you can be proud about what you're doing, if you can be proud about what's happening to you every single day, you're the one that can tell yourself every single day whether you're pouring it on, okay? And if you feel good about where you're at, and the only reason I'm saying that, I've seen some distributors before that definitely got sidetracked. Just because some other people were up there, feel good about where you're at, feel good about who you are, and if you want to make things better, all you got to do is look in the mirror and make them better. You guys have to realize you are the presidents, you are the chairman of the boards of your own independent Herbalife distributorships, okay? Each and every one of you have the power to be able to make things better for you. The one thing I'd like to leave you with is this. This is a very interesting thing that happened to me. I was at a dinner about 2 weeks ago, and how many of you have ever heard of General Schwarzkopf? Okay? I was at a dinner with General Schwarzkopf, and he was just an unbelievable man to listen to, and he had been talking about leadership and what it was like to be a world leader and so on, and truly he's become an unbelievable, powerful figure to everybody around the world with the situation that we were in when we had Operation Desert Storm. Okay, everybody remembers that deal. And he was talking about what it was like to take charge and really run with things and so on. And he said he had taken us through about an hour of how he did his leadership and stuff like this, which I found very, very exciting personally. Okay, but at the end of his deal, he said, I would just like to explain to you Rule 13 and Rule 14 as I end my presentation here today. And I thought it fit not only him very well, but it certainly fit me very well. And there's no question it'll fit you very well too, because you're all leaders. He said, when I was being put in charge of the entire United States service and so on, and he said it was going to be in charge of 650,000 men and women all over America. He said it was an awesome thing to even be asked to be put in charge of. But he said the man who was general just before that, he says, I only met him for just a handful of minutes. And he said, General Schwarzkopf? He said, yes, sir. He said, I would like to give you this position now. And he says, I'm very busy. I have to go on to Europe within the next month, and then I'll be in the Pacific Rim, and then I'll be over in South America, and I'll be back in approximately 2.5 months. Congratulations for getting the job of being in charge of the most proud men and women on the face of the planet. 650,000 of them are in your proud control. Goodbye. And he said, wait a minute. He says, I don't know a lot of what to do in this job. He says, just before you leave, can I please know about the Bill 17 that's been in front of the United States Congress for the last 7 years? He says, I got to know what to do about that particular subject. It's going to affect 100,000 of our people in the next couple of weeks. He said, General Schwarzkopf, he says, I got to leave. Just remember rule number 13. Goodbye. And he says, General, before you leave, I don't got any idea what rule 13 is. He says, please instruct me and guide me. He said, listen, he says, when you've been put in control, put this in your notes. When you've been put in control, take charge. And he said, wait a minute. He says, that's all I'm going to get. He says, I really got to have some advice here on these 100,000 people that are going to be affected. He said, General Schwarzkopf, He says, do you understand what I said? I got Rule 13. And he says, I can't even believe it. You're giving me this job here with all these people not knowing how to make this decision, and all you're going to give me is rule number 13? He says, I'll give you one more thing, then I'm out of here. Rule 14. He says, what's that? He says, whatever you're faced with, whenever you're making these decisions, do the right thing. And he says, it'll be all right. And he said, you know something? He says, I learned something very extraordinary from that experience. He says, I was given control of 650,000 people, and he says, here I was not knowing how to make these decisions, but I learned one thing in a handful of minutes from this guy. I had been put in control, and I had to take action immediately. And he said the next thing was, I knew we had lots of people in the system, and if we would just keep the goals right, and we would just do it, all of the people in there would do the right thing. And he says, all I can tell you, he says, lots of people have asked me how I did the job that I did, and he says, all I know is that we took control, we got into action, and we kept doing the right thing. And that's all you guys got to do. To make it through your Herbalife distributorship and your president's team situation, all you got to do is keep doing the business. All you got to do is act upon your actions every single day. All you got to do is keep doing the right thing. And how much more righter can we get than what we're doing here? Helping people with their health, helping people with their lives, helping people change things around. We're doing the right thing.